This is the Spanish word for hurricane, which is fitting because the car that bears its name goes like the wind. But more importantly, it's also the name of a famous fighting bull, revered for its courage and ferocity. And that can only mean one thing. This is a Lamborghini. There's a huge amount riding on the Huracan, or Huracan LP6104 to give it its full name, as it replaces the Gallardo, a model that was in production for some 13 years, in which Lamborghini sold 14,000 models, more than any other Lambo. So I've got a day to tell you whether they've got the Huracan right and whether it deserves the same success as its predecessor. And I've got the perfect road to test it on, a smooth ribbon of tarmac southeast of Cape Town that borders the Atlantic Ocean and takes me through the Kogelberg Nature Reserve. Supercars don't exist to be practical or economical or easy to park. They exist to excite. And there's plenty to inspire you inside this quality cockpit with these enveloping sports seats clad in quality leather. There's some lovely hexagonal design cues from the Mura, and this row of toggle switches leads you down to the jet fighter style starter button. Now that wasn't me blipping the throttle when the engine started, it's what it does automatically. Unfortunately, when the revs drop down to tick over, on the inside it does sound a bit like a sewing machine. The Huracan's power is provided by a normally aspirated 5.2-litre V10 engine that's carried over from the Gallardo, but with considerable modifications to the cylinder head and exhaust. The result, 610 horsepower that'll launch you to 62 in just 3.2 seconds, and, if you so wish, take you on to 202 miles an hour. And now, with a few revs on the clock, that sounds more like a V10 should. So, how does that compare with the car's biggest rival, the Ferrari 458 Italia? Well, pretty favourably, because the Lambo has 40 more horsepower and is 0.2 quicker to 62 miles an hour. Top speeds are the same, and with a price tag of £180,000, the Huracan costs just £2,000 more. Whilst the Ferrari has its little Manatino switch to change the car's setup, the Lamborghini has an anima. Yes, I did say anima. Apparently in Italian it means soul. But that does the same thing, altering the car's engine mapping, the suspension, the gearbox, the steering, and the traction control. The softest setting is Strada, means street. In the middle we've got Sport, which means sport, and the hardest setting, Corsa, which means race. But to be honest, on most public roads, the Corsa setting is probably a bit too stiff. And if you end up too long, you'll be knocking all your teeth out of your jaw. Liberal use of carbon fibre and aluminium keeps the Huracan's weight down to 1,422 kilograms. And that adds up to a power-to-weight ratio of 429 horsepower per tonne. So, I hear you ask, how does it handle? Well, on these public roads in South Africa, I can hardly push it right to the limit. If I do turn it a little bit quick, I can feel that front just washing out. With a tendency to understeer, the car won't frighten you to death. And with permanent four-wheel drive, there's no shortage of traction. But for me, that's a slight disappointment. Very safe, very predictable, but perhaps not exciting enough for the purist driver. And if I'm honest, I'm not that excited about the car's looks either. Styling-wise, there are plenty of intriguing creases wherever you look, and some other neat touches inspired by the Mura. But overall, it doesn't look dramatically different to the Gallardo it replaces, apart perhaps from the more aggressive front-end treatment. If it was in Italian orange or green, I might be more taken by it. But in matte black, it doesn't really do justice to the stunning scenery behind it. Huracan comes with carbon ceramic brakes fitted as standard, something which is often a £5,000 to £10,000 option in some supercars. And they really do provide a reassuring, strong brake pedal. And for those who care, fuel economy is 10% better than the old car. There's even a stop-start system. A stop-start system in a Lamborghini. One change that's definitely for the better is that Lamborghini have finally dropped their clunky single-clutch E-gear flappy pedal system and installed Audi's excellent 7-speed dual-clutch, full throttle upshifts, blipping downshifts, but you don't feel a single one of them. Unfortunately, they've still left the paddles stuck to the steering column, and beautiful though they are, I want them to move with the steering wheel. So, does the Huracan excite me the way a supercar should? At the end of the day, much as I'm enjoying driving this new baby Lamborghini, it's been anaesthetised. This new Huracan doesn't look wild enough, it doesn't sound loud enough, it doesn't feel edgy enough. But that's exactly what Lamborghini intended, because the less edgy it is, the more Huracans they'll sell.
I'm not normally a fan of V10 engines. They don't normally sound as good as a V8 in my view, but this one sounds pretty good.